Welcome to the Recovery Roundtable podcast, where the journey to sobriety opens up through powerful discussions and shared experiences. Join your host, Mark, who will bring you stories of triumph and resilience from the heart of Pacific Shores recovery. Every episode offers insights and support, guiding you through the challenges of addiction recovery. Thank you for joining our community. If you're ready to start or continue your recovery journey, we're here to inspire and support you. Let's explore recovery together.
So welcome to our little mini podcast here, man. We're trying to get the word out and definitely want to share your story, but your story is a little bit different. You actually came on, I don't know, a little less than a year ago maybe, somewhere around there, as an employee.
Yep.
And so would love to have you just kind of share your story, how you heard about us, how you found us, what drove you to get into this type of industry to help other people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe that God definitely led my path to the family where I am today. I came from a very unethical place when I was trying to help people there. I seen that, and God led me to Pacific Shores. And just from the very first time that I met you, I met your dad, I met Jerry. They brought me on. I just knew that this was going to be my home, and I come from a place where a lot of hurt and a lot of crime, a lot of negative things throughout my whole life, and I know at this point in my life that I want to try to help others and help them to a better life.
Yeah, and that's one of the secrets that we find in life is, like, I know for me, the majority of my life in the beginning, we take. I think that's kind of human nature. Like, we take and we find out, man, happiness and fulfillment and joy and beauty of this life does not come from taking, and then we spend like the rest of our lives just wanting to give and give and give.
Yeah.
Well, with that mindset, what are some of the things that you've seen being on the other side and actually seen behind the scenes and behind closed doors that you're enjoying while working here?
I feel one of the things that stand out to me the most is how genuine you are and how genuine your father is, and how ethical it is here. Not only do you understand that it's a business, but you're actually in the business of saving lives as well. And I respect that about you, about Pacific Shores. I respect that a lot, and that's why I'm able to really dive in and give my all, because I understand that from within, it's genuine and sincere and real.
That's awesome. So some of the other questions I have is you've seen the way that we do our trainings. We've been around for coming up on a quarter of a century, so coming up on 25 years here in January. And we hear this repeatedly, time and time again, at how much different our entire onboarding process is, our trainings, and that we have our team actually get into the app and do the same work that our clients are going through, actually go through our onboarding process and learning not just the vernacular and what our 5 foundational freedoms are and the different things, but of actually learning how to, because you hear me say this all the time, I lead from where I live. I have to live this lifestyle in order to lead it. What are some of the things that have either been surprising to you or have stuck out the most that has maybe changed how you live just from the trainings?
Because the 5 foundational freedoms not only work for you while you're currently in treatment, but they work for you no matter how many years that you have sober. Like, it's something that you can continue, or even if you've never even used drugs or alcohol. I feel like these foundational freedoms can actually help you on your day-to-day. And then the one thing that really stand out to me and surprised me was that you're on the Pacific Shores app daily, posting the 5 to Thrive. And we have so many clients that we had here on the Pacific Shores app posting the 5 to Thrive. And so it's not only what you're saying, but it's what I'm actually able to see and the growth that I'm able to see, not only from, like you say, the clients, but from us, the staff too. So like you said, we do the onboarding experience just like the clients do. So even when we're out there with the clients, we're able to, our conversation is based on what it is that we're learning, not only from the app, but and not only from the curriculum that we have here at the facility. And so that's what we're talking about. That's how we're interacting with each other, and that's how we're able to grow.
Yeah, and do you find it easier as you're actually doing the work and truly understand what our clients are going through to actually engage with them?
Absolutely, and it also nullifies us talking about things that aren't pertaining towards recovery, or their journey and what it is that they're going through. That kind of that gives us conversation. That gives us something to talk about. That gives us something for us to be able to bond with, and for us to be able to communicate about.
So, what are some of the things that you've seen while you've worked here that has either changed your life or helped in one way or another?
Well, you've been a blessing to me, like for real. Like, I've learned so much from you, and you give it freely. So that's one of the main things that stands out to me the most, is that on how freely that you give, and that's definitely been life-changing for me. Also, another thing that's been life-changing for me is being able to see the clients that are growing here. Like you said, they leave here, they're sober 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and coming from different states to even come and talk to other clients here about their journey and what life looks like when you're sober and when you're doing things the right way. Definitely an eye-opening experience to see a lot of the clients that leave here that come back, and they're still living a great life.
Yeah, for those that are doing the work. And well, no, I mean, there's nothing off limits here. And one of the things we're trying to do is to really be real and expose the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between.
Right.
And so of seeing the clients that continually to do the work and keep checking in and coming back and actually become presenters, and many go into this line of work actually of, like you said, wanting to pay it forward, and we'll come back and kind of pay homage and talk to our clients. You mentioned one thing. You talked about life-changing results. Do you mind kind of sharing of what that looks like in this season of life?
Yeah, just so from seeing a client that come here and they're broken, family and friend relationships, horrible finances, horrible how they feel about themselves, the pain, coming in for a certain level of care, and then go to the RTC, to the PHP, and then all the way out to the virtual program. And then doing the virtual program with them online and seeing them outside from the facility in their own life, in their own home, going to meetings, becoming yoga instructors or chefs, or in really growing and really shining and really able to follow through with their dreams.
Yeah, that's a huge part, and I forgot. Thank you for reminding me that you will actually jump in and help facilitate some of these virtual parts, and seeing. Yeah, we just had a person that became a chef, completed their chef school. They're doing wonderfully. Yoga.
Yeah.
One of the things that is so neat is by helping individuals find or uncover their purpose.
Yeah.
They're able to find out, hey, this is in this season. Here is my purpose. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that we talk about a lot too, is seasonal purpose. But actually pursuing their dreams that they either abandoned or gave up on a while ago.
Right.
And so I don't know how open you are to sharing some of your own experience. I'll start with mine, and if you're up for it.
Okay.
Like I know over the 5 foundational fitnesses in fitness. Mm-hmm. I know back when my wife was pregnant, I talk about it in my book a little bit, but my rock bottom from a fitness and health standpoint was when my little, she's I think under 2 years old, and my wife was pregnant. She goes, "Mommy have baby in belly, and Daddy have baby in belly." And I'm just kind of like, first of all, I'm so thankful that kids have zero filter, and they don't mean anything by it. They're not. It wasn't like, oh, my kid's trying to be a dick. It was just she was just being this beautiful little being.
Yeah, being honest.
But what's funny is I grew up in high school and college as an athlete and doing sports. So in our minds, we tend to rationalize it's not that bad. I'm not really that bad. And for a phase of, trying to run the business, trying to raise a child at the time, just single child, it's like we didn't have time to go out and take pictures. Or I should say we didn't make time. So I had this disconnect of what my health was, what I looked like, and then all of a sudden I started seeing pictures, and I couldn't believe it. I think I was around 40 pounds heavier at around like 28% body fat. And so what I recognized is learning these 5 foundational freedoms and actually applying them to my life of eating differently and making different healthy decisions, and then going all the way from 28% body fat down to about 15%, holding there for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years, maybe 8 years now.
Yeah.
And then same thing, going from 40 pounds down to holding around 200 pounds and feeling energized and focused, and the brain fog is gone. And I noticed the first several months you were eating out a lot when you first started working here, and then I start seeing you bring these little green trays in. So without putting you on blast, are you willing to share of how your fitness and health has been impacted just by working here and being part of these 5 foundational freedoms and living this way?
Yeah, by understanding the 5 foundational freedoms and actually, like you say, putting in the work, you begin to learn yourself, and you begin to see certain patterns that you have. Like you said, coming in, eating out, not paying attention to really what it is that I'm doing. Even with the clients, I'm talking to the clients about these 5 foundational freedoms, but am I really working them? And so these are questions that I ask myself. And so in this area, the fitness area, I've seen that, no, I have not been completely. Yeah, I go to the gym, 2 or 3 times a week, but am I really giving my all? Am I really, stepping out there and basically practicing what I'm preaching? And so as I'm doing that, I'm seeing the growth. I'm seeing me go from 240 to 225.
You did a 225
Yeah.
now? I didn't know that. Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you. To eating healthy, to feeling better. Like you said, the energy is through the roof now. And it's actually, helping with my faith. Because that's how they kind of coincide with each other. One leads to the other and fuels the other, and it's leading to my faith growing and becoming stronger because I'm believing in my higher power that He's going to basically bless my steps that I take. But I gotta put in the work. I gotta actually do what it is that I'm saying I'm going to do, and by me doing it, by putting in the work, I'm getting the results back that I want.
So first of all, that it is so cool seeing you lead from where you live now. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
The other part that you mentioned too is and this is why I love doing the work, is because I'm reminded daily at how we have decisions and how difficult it can be. It's easy to make healthy decisions, but it's just as easy to make the unhealthy decisions. So when a client is struggling, and just had a conversation with a client yesterday of not wanting to go to the gym and the different things, but struggling with the brain chemistry and different aspects, and actually kind of unveiling how the science behind it, and when you actually move your body, you make better decisions, you start feeling better. But you did a beautiful correlation. Most people don't understand this, from faith and fitness and how they're connected and intertwined. One of the big things is the body's a temple.
Yes.
And so we find this time and time and time again of, once I start taking care of my body, my fitness, all of a sudden the faith starts actually becoming a little bit more front and center. And we have this conversation, we call it the conversation with our Creator. And our faith begins to become on fire, and we have such clear direction. So you already hit on those two, which is fantastic. Next thing I'll go to is family and friends. We talk about the daily deposits, the daily MOG, message of gratitude. And I love, and I see you posting those too in our virtual experience. But how have you seen growth in the area of relationships just from living this way?
Just, things at home with my wife are improving. As I learn and do, my wife starts to see it, respect it, and happy wife, happy life, right? And so the more work that I put in, she sees me putting in this work, the more respect she has for me, and that's allowing our relationship to grow. It also helps with my children. So I'm able to communicate with them better, and actually I'm able to communicate with them better because I'm learning how to listen better. And the more that I listen, the more that I'm able to really think about it and then come to them with the correct response. And so, my household is definitely getting better as well. These things start to play themselves out. But I still have a long ways to go.
You mean you're not perfect? I screw up daily. So that's the other part of this whole aspect is, it's not AA saying, strive for, it's not perfection, progress, not perfection, which I agree with. But it's one of those things where we see this, and this is why I choose to live this way. to show people like, look, here's how a marriage can continually progress. And you mentioned something that for all the ladies out there is respect is such a huge thing from it's a masculine trait of from feminine to masculine, the energy of the love and respect. And you said the way you did that was by improving yourself and listening. This is the part that so many people miss. And why I'm stoked that you've decided to drink the Kool-Aid, as they say, and do the work. And I've seen you connect over the last 3 to 6 months, connect even more with our clients. One question I have for you is a lot of the time, because we have a lot of growth patterns, we have books and audio tapes that we really encourage, especially management, to go through. You've received that and kind of like, hey, give me more, as opposed to we see some people resist. Why do you think you've been able to jump in and just consume the material, but from a joyful place, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because the older I get, the more I understand that I know less, and I want to fill myself up. I want to learn, and the more that I learn, that's how you're able to grow. But then I also see a great example in front of me at work. You, Mark, like, you're a great example. You walk it like you talk it, and I respect that. And so, kind of like sort of like a client or a person that's going out there and they're looking for like a sponsor, but just like in a different way, but similar. Like, you want to seek out a person who you respect, and then once you find that person, you want to start to emulate, or Kobe to a Jordan, right? So there's things about you that I see that I want to emulate. And that's how I want to grow. So I see you putting in the work. So I know, hey, if I want to obtain these things that I'm seeing Mark has, then I have to put in the work like this. So I'll even just I'll be like a parrot. Like, I'll sound like a parrot. Some of the things that you tell me when you're like, hey, Tim, you need to grow in these different areas and this is how you can do it. I'll take that and then I'll parrot that. And I'll say the same thing when I'm interacting with the clients, and it's working. So now I'm like, oh, the more I learn, the more I take in, then the more I'll have to be able to put out there.
That's awesome, man. And the other part too is, because you have kids, that's one thing I continue to learn. I not only learn from my kids, like we all do, but they have even seen a change over the last decade within me. And like, this is the part that I love, is if I take care of me and continue to grow, that positively impacts my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
That positively impacts them. That impacts them at school.
Yeah.
Then the school, like, it's all interconnected.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to take some time to talk with you and find out, what's it like working here. And you've said a lot of positives. Let's get real. What are some things that you've seen where you're kind of like, hey, I've helped make some of these changes, or whatever you can think of. I mean, I want to keep these real. I don't want it to be all like, oh, this place is just perfect and everything. Like, I want the real deal. I want people that are seeing this to know, hey, life can get messy at times. And it's not about, I just thought of Rocky, it's not about how hard you get hit, it's how many times you get up. But of being like, legitimately going like, here's some of the things and that I've been able to implement and to help change and to grow. Are there any things that pop up in your mind in that way?
I think the thing that I struggle with, I think the most for me, is when we pour into our clients and we're unable to help. So like, the things that we're learning here and the things that we give to our clients, we give those to our clients and they don't grow, or they go out there and relapse, or they're just not trying to hear it, or they AMA. I feel like that's the toughest thing that I have to deal with here on a day-to-day basis, because everything else is fixable. We can change, especially when you're dealing with the person who's open-minded to change and willing to listen and not just be like a dictatorship. So, and we have that here. We have an open door policy here. So with that being said, the only thing that I feel like I struggle with the most is taking on the pressure of doing the job on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, there's peaks and there's like, oh yeah, we're winning, and it's all great, but then there's other days where it's not so great. You may lose 2 or 3 people to AMA or, not wanting to be here. And so I think that's probably the hardest thing that I have to deal with there.
Yeah, and that's part of this cycle. Why I like speaking so openly about this stuff is because I would say probably for the first, I don't know, I'm a slow learner. Maybe the first 10 years I did this. Yeah. Like I put so much, and I didn't know this at the time, and I'm just speaking for me. Yeah. I put so much of my validation, of my self-worth on the outcome. Yeah. And so when it worked out, everything was great. Look at me, I'm awesome. And when it didn't, I was destroyed. And it took a while. And one of the things that, and why we continue to do these trainings is how to take care of me. So that's where the 5 to Thrive and the Perfect 10 came in, to make sure that I'm putting the oxygen mask on myself each morning before I go and try to help anybody else. But the second part is one of the foundations we haven't mentioned yet is feelings. Is making sure that I am stoking the feelings, challenging my own internal narrative, but also looking at the different thoughts and stories. So whether a client does well or not is not a direct reflection on, am I worthy? Did I do enough? Because I remember, gosh, it was years ago. I remember a guy went through our program. He rocked. He did great. We did the 3-month follow-up, the 6-month follow-up. Everything was going great. And then I want to say it was about a year later, and his dad actually called us. He actually relapsed and died of an overdose. Right. And it was a tragedy. He came down, and we had this beautiful memorial here where we all released butterflies in his honor. Wow. He was such a lovable young guy. Yeah. But I remember, I think that was the first one that really hit me I felt like a failure. Yeah. Like, it sounds cheesy, but it's like the ending of Schindler's List, where at the end he's like, I could have done so much more. And that's human nature, but at the same time, we're going, how do I make sure that I'm helping, but not putting everything in? Because this is the part that sucks to hear, and it's how I got started in this, is because you know my story. I walked in on my aunt overdosing. Unfortunately, some people do die from this disease, no matter how much you pour in. Yeah. So of really looking at saying, how do we set healthy boundaries and say, here's what we're able to do, but also not putting our own self-worth, or how could I have done it better when a person makes those unhealthy choices? Because that's free will choice. I mean, we talk about faith. I know my higher power is God, and one of the beautiful gifts that was given to us is I just blanked on the term, free will. Yeah. And it's like, okay, how do I be okay? And I have the same thing with my kids. Yeah. How do I love them? How do I provide for them? How do I protect them while they're young? And how do I prepare them for the world and set some boundaries, but also give them free will to make healthy and unhealthy choices? Yeah. And so it is kind of a mix. And so I've already seen you progress while you've been here. What are some of the things that you're able to do when you see a client making some poor choices, where you maybe don't necessarily take it on, but you're still there to support them, but still allow them to make those decisions?
Yeah, by just listening to them and really being there for them. First, you want to gain the rapport, genuine rapport with the client. And so you're able to sit down and have this conversation with this person and hear from them. But like you say, you got to continue to put the work in. You got to really check your feelings. You got to practice self-care. But after you do that, after you gain the rapport with the client, you just really want to listen to them and be there for them and be that advocate for them, because they really need you. Yeah. And so if you're caught up in their feelings, then you can't help because you're emotionally involved. So you just got to kind of step back, listen, support, and just go all the way in for them.
I think you hit a really beautiful point as far as me working through my emotions, being there for them, but also not either projecting, and that's one of the biggest things that we go over here is the recovery chat, and exposing our own internal stories and thoughts so we don't project, because the world does a beautiful job holding up the mirror to us, of showing us our insecurities and triggering us. And if we're not doing the work, we continue to fall victim to that same pattern again and again. And so of doing that self-reflection work, making sure that, look, I want to keep growing so I get better, but also you get to benefit from me getting better.
Exactly.
So one of the final questions that kind of pops up for me is I mean, you've been with us for a little while, and you see we're always looking at bringing new people on the team, but we're a very small place. We are. If someone was thinking about working here, what advice would you give them?
If you wanted to come to Pacific Shores, the advice that I would give for you would to be to understand that you're coming to a family.
Mm.
You're coming to a family that's trying to help people recover, and we lead from love, but we also hold healthy boundaries. So if you want to come here and learn and jump in and help people save their lives, then we're going to be a perfect fit for you. But if you want to come in and you not want to engage with clients, if you don't want to show love and learn and, you know, be open-minded, and then maybe we might not be the place for you. But this is a family, and I love it here. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time and sitting down, jumping in the little studio we got here to just kind of share your experience and your growth and what you're passionate about doing, man. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. We're so glad you're here, and we hope that you found this episode helpful. We're going to ask that you leave us a review if you found this helpful, because what it does is it helps other people find this valuable resource to hear these inspirational stories in order to grow. Now, once you leave the review, I'm going to ask that you take a screenshot and then send me the email. And you can send it to Mark, M-A-R-K, at PacificShoresRecovery.com. And what I'm going to do is every single month, we're going to pick one winner, and we are going to offer a free one-on-one breakthrough session, either virtually in here, or if you're in person, would love to meet you with me. That will help see where you're stuck, where you want to go, and to help create this bridge to help get you there. So thank you again for listening. Want to make sure that this continues to be highly valuable time. Please leave us a review, and love to see you in our raffle for the 101 breakthrough session.